this particular tool is very handy for overcoming criticism and skepticism. Well, and there you got it. I have to deal with a lot of criticism and skepticism. So I thought, well, this is my first step. I will implement this particular tool to try to get some people to open up and lose their skepticism. It's very practical, and it's very powerful. I was amazed, and that is not during the session, because I was too much involved in the session. I was like, what's but when I came home, I was like, oh. And as I told you, I use it already unconscious, because there's not a wrong choice. It's your choice, but there's nothing wrong. So don't be afraid to choose. You can choose, and it's very safe to choose. That's what I learned. Well, in that mindset I came from. Oh, okay, there's no wrong. Well, maybe there is, but don't exclude it. And if you evolve it and you come to the conclusion, well, it's not a very handy choice I made over there. Oh, okay, you change it, and so that's a mindset I'm into right now. If you broadcast it worldwide, people make use of this tool, because will really help you.
And then now I'm starting to do things in my team, and to see if it's possible to get my team members in another mindset. But because of that, it's already starting to go. It's going to my management. And so I'm starting to do things for the whole institute. So there are also from other departments, from other directions, that teachers there will do something with it. It's all small things, but it's growing. It's starting to become more. So that's what's really happening now. But I also already have ideas that I think, well, it should not only be in our institute, but it could be at whole Fontes.
So the entrepreneurial mindset that is created through these sessions is really great. Before, you see people stuck in their own maybe little island of work or responsibilities, and then afterwards they come out. They have these crazy out-of-the-box ideas, maybe a bit too crazy, but you can always tone them down. And that's the great thing of the entrepreneurial mindset. You dream big, and then you start small, and that's something I find great as a result. Yeah. People should join these sessions just to get a new, refreshed look into working together. Not only as individuals, joining a session, meeting new people, but also as teams. I've had the chance to bring some teams here, work with them in one of the meeting rooms here, and then join a session of Host to Transform. And you really notice that by mixing them with other people that they don't know, creating that energy, just their blinkers open and start moving out of their comfort zone and go home energized again. For me, the positive thinking is really important as a result from these Host to Transform sessions, because I think in teams or in companies, people, and that's people's nature, to sit around a problem and say how big the problem is, instead of accepting the problem as a fact and then working with it to create something new or innovate or whatever. And by going into such a problem with positive thinking, I think you've solved the mindset part of it. Obviously, then you need to take the next steps, but at least the mindset is there. So that's really important.
For me, it's one of these things that, it's just 20 minutes, and at the end of it, you're almost 99% guaranteed you're gonna be happy that you did it. It's just that initial step is always, for some reason, so hard for us to take. And actually, that's a good example to go to the gym, because what they usually say, even the gym guys or the people recommending the gym, they always say it's the first 5 minutes. So even if you don't feel in the mood to go to the gym or you're not sure, they tell you just do it for 5 minutes. If you don't like it after 5 minutes, you can leave. I would say that's probably true for this as well, because then most of the time you end up going longer anyway, because you end up liking it. And so this is where that would fit in. Yeah, it's an experience that it's sort of a thing that you don't know what you're getting into, and that's what makes it a little bit scary. But it's only 20 minutes, and it could be nothing or it could be everything, right? So it's like, why not take the risk for 20 minutes and be a little bit silly? I think this is us in general, but also society. We're always afraid to look silly, and sometimes it's okay. I know I have that problem. You always watch out to like, oh, don't do silly things, and then this is kind of a session where you start out silly and then you start having serious conversation. But because you already did all these crazy things, the conversations are so much easier and so much more fluid, and you're not afraid to talk about like the stuff that you worry about. Because for me as an entrepreneur, it's like, okay, what are the big things that I need to solve? So that sort of helps to free that all up.
The Host to Transform sessions have always been very interesting to me, amazing also. Well, it's called Transform session, and it is really true. It's transforming. What is it transforming for me, and I think also for the others? It's transforming attitude towards my own business, my own way of making business or being entrepreneur, and also transforming how I perceive the others, how I approach others, how I create my network, because through the Host to Transform sessions, I realized that the network is very important. Nothing bad about it to create a network. Why would I join Host to Transform sessions? Curiosity, that's one. I'm curious about the outcome. I'm also curious about myself, how I am in relationship with other people. It's kind of, also sometimes my challenge, to be honest. It's a nice way of distraction for me, in a good way, in a positive way. It's always nice, 30 minutes, challenging also sometimes, but that's the nice part about it too, that you tell about your ways of making business. What were your failures, what were your successes? And this is very important because it gives you the chance to look at yourself into the mirror. You get the mirror in front of yourself, and it's always good because you can realize a lot of things about yourself. So on a personal level, that's what I value very much about the Host to Transform session.
You have the human energy, the openness to connect, the shared resources, and the transformation, of course. Everything starts from my point of view with the human energy, because without human energy, I have the feeling that all of the stuff that we see around us wouldn't have come to existence at a certain point of time, and that is a thing that is forgotten nowadays, because I have the feeling that a lot of people are focused, morally focused on effectiveness and how could we be more effective, and things are project based instead of process based.
Yeah.
They actually they don't take the human energy and the human aspect into consideration. Thus, by looking at human aspect as a starting point, it creates this whole shift of mindset in which you actually start to assess things more differently. You start looking at the consistency of your team, the consistency of the people around you, the consistency of whatever, in what kind of environment you are, and of course then you get the openness to connect. You've known me in your classes. I'm this very open guy who's actually I love to connect with people. I'm a people's person, and I think I would die if there was no people around me. That would just it's not a good thing for me. Being open, it also actually it's not only opening yourself, but it gives room to people around you to open themselves to you too. And the beauty of it, once if I may give this example, once things are open, then a lot of energy just flows in and flows out, and you get the chance to actually make use of it in a certain way that you also can also create a durable and constant renewal and stuff. Of course, that to be able to do that, you must also be prepared to share resources, which could be knowledge, each other's energy, each other's time, whatever. If you don't, sharing is caring. That is also an important basic. And those three things are then again evolved into this huge product, which could be fluid or solid, whatever, and you can call that the transformation.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Nice.
And also celebrate your successes. That's one of the things that I take with me from this session. It is I do that not that often or even never. And it's well important to stay motivated why I'm doing this. It's all about enjoying yourself and this thing, and give yourself a present to actually experience what the potential is that you actually have. And if you see that in yourself, then you have also noticed something that you can give to others too. But it starts with yourself first. And that is what most people, I've seen, me included, that we started on the outside. And
helping
we have
others.
to start in the inside. And this is something that is looking in your inner potential on several levels, and combined that gives a better sense of what you can do. And if you believe it by experience, you can also give it to other people.
I do believe that if people think positive, if they act also in a positive way, there's a flow that helps you and helps the others. And maybe that is actually what we need more in this world.
I think that anything that pushes people into uncomfortable places is great for mind and body, and the reality is as we were saying, I see a need for this because you can look at kind of look behind me, you can see what's going on. It's like everyone's kind of working on their laptops and individually, and it's not really a cohesive working space in terms of collaboration and communication. So forcing that, giving it a little kick at the beginning is really, really worthwhile. And I think that really helps with this concept of burning your bridges, because when you don't give yourself an opportunity to exit, then the only way is forward. And this is what happens when you're in that group and we start playing these seemingly meaningless games, but they're there for a purpose because it's pushing you to do something as part of a group. Let's talk about birthdays, let's talk about countries, let's play a game about naming vegetables, and you can't think of a vegetable, so you just say like blah, and it's funny, but it's also, you get a little bit nervous because you see it as a little bit of a sign of a lack of intellect, or ooh, and that's really invigorating because you realize that everyone else is making mistakes, and it's very difficult for someone to make those steps all alone, and that's what's really great about these groups.
Post your session, everybody was so energetic. The whole day was so bubbly and so positive. Like I could see people like talking and wanting to share ideas and wanting to make conversations, even debates for that matter. And they were just like, they were looking forward to the day. The whole transformation is what when I say transformation, it's just from a day to day when I'm trying to compare of how your workshop had an impact in them all throughout the day, and what was the next session like. It's for me that was the best transformation that I could see, is that the community started, they just needed an icebreaker, and your session served the purpose. So it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that's funny. It's actually, our purpose is not so much to make people do things and make them interact and force them, but we provide a framework where interaction happens. So we provide a structure, and within that structure, behavior occurs according their need or what's on top of their mind. and not so much about how we want them to behave. And I think
Exactly.
that's the main
It was,
difference.
yeah, because so Jaga also supports that we do not force anything on anybody, and we do not have any rules and regulations that you're not supposed to do this or that. It's just like a very open space. It's your space. Utilize it and exploit it, and love it, but at the same point of time. So when your framework came in place, it just synchronized in such a beautiful manner that I feel like it's a part of everything when we are trying to do any community events or talks or just happy hours, or it's just even lunch sessions. I can see the whole framework taking place and doing its part beautifully.